Hello and welcome back to my channel. My name is Chris, and on today's video we're going to go through 15 fragrances that are the perfect buys for Christmas. So I've compiled this list of fragrances. I have selected 15 different fragrances that to me are the best, most luxurious fragrances that you can get someone. They're going to be the most sophisticated, the most, different. They're going to have depth and quality and sensuality to them. Some of these are going to be lighter. Some of these are going to be more on the men's spectrums. Some of these are going to be more on the women's spectrum. Just note that almost every single one in here, with an exception of a few, are considered unisex fragrances. I will go through them and definitely let you know if they are considered a feminine or masculine fragrance, but let's get right into it to see which ones are the top 15 fragrances that you need to buy someone for Christmas. Starting off the list with Rouge Malachite. This fragrance is from Armani and it is part of their PRIVE line, or it's called the Armani PRIVE Fragrance Collection. This is their private line of fragrances. It's an absolutely gorgeous bottle. It is a red lacquered bottle. It has a very shiny lacquered type of quality to it. Very heavy, very sexy. The nice thing about this fragrance bottle is that you can still see through it, so you can see where you're at with your juice. And it comes in a very nice packaging. At least the sleeve of the actual box itself is going to be that glossy patent red. And then you're going to get that classic Armani box. This fragrance is an incredibly beautiful, sophisticated white floral fragrance, but it has depth to it. It has spice to it. It's going to have those beautiful white elements such as tuberose and jasmine, but it's going to have pink pepper in this fragrance. You're going to get amber extreme in here as well as cashmere wood. This fragrance is a very nice and sophisticated actual fragrance to get. I definitely think that if you do get this for someone, it might be more on the feminine side, just so you're aware. But this fragrance is a must-have in everyone's staple collection because it adds that white floral, but it's not going to be a grandma white floral. It's going to have sensuality. It's going to have spice. It's going to have amber touches to it. It's going to be a very dynamic, very easy wearing fragrance. And because of that, I definitely do recommend Rouge Malachite. Now, do note that this is more on the pricey side of a fragrance. The large size, or the 100 ml size bottle, or 3.4 fluid ounces, would cost you $340 US, which is a lot of moolah. But since we're going through the luxury fragrances, I definitely think that, this is a staple and a must-have for anyone. They also do manufacture a 1.7 or 50 ml size bottle for $231. Obviously, I do recommend getting the bigger size, but if you cannot do that, definitely try out the small one. Now, do note that I have been able to find this one on discounters, such as Joma Shop, FragranceNet, FragranceBuy.ca. There's a bunch of different sites that actually have this fragrance. It's not always in stock, so if you find it at a discounted price, definitely pick it up because it's going to go back to regular price, or they're going to sell out of this fragrance altogether. The next one we have is Rouge Velour, and this is from Yves Saint Laurent. This is part of their Le Vestiaire collection. It does have the traditional Le Vestiaire bottle, which is transparent glass square. Very simple, very, timeless and classic. You do get your YSL logo up top and on the inside of the cap too. Very nice bottle. Now, these do have a different sizing structure, so they have a 2.5 ounce bottle or 75 ml bottle for $185. Which is pretty pricey, $185, and you're getting 75 mils, but that's better than getting 50 mils for that price. They also do make a 4.2 ounce bottle or 125 mils for $270. So this line's private, it's expensive, but it's not extremely expensive to the point where you are breaking the bank. So I definitely think that that is a really nice thing about this actual fragrance line. Now, I really love this fragrance because it has white tea as one of the top notes, which is a little bit of a rarity when it comes to fragrances, especially in this, more expensive upper echelons of fragrances. This scent itself is going to be very sexy, seductive. It's going to have the spice, but it's one of the best, if not the best, rose and patchouli fragrances I have ever smelled in my entire life. If you're a fan of roses and you're a fan of patchouli, you're going to get that beautiful earthy note to this fragrance, that beautiful and sexy bohemian type of patchouli. And you're going to get that very soft and delicate but deep rose in this fragrance, which is very nice. I think it's an incredibly well done fragrance. This one was launched in 2021. They did have another one, which was Rouge Velours. It was in a different colored bottle, but they have reformulated it and they have brought it back with a red liquid. And I think it's very fitting for the actual fragrance itself. I definitely think that it's more of a unisex fragrance, this one here, but it can lean a little bit feminine if you do not like roses. And if you do not like roses, then definitely, steer clear of this one. But it is a very sexy, sophisticated fragrance that is going to really, impact the room whenever you walk into it. The next one that we have here is by the House of Chanel. Now, this is a women's actual fragrance. The reason I picked this one, I actually just did a video on this guy here, but I picked this because I do feel like this can be worn by men as well. It's a very nice fragrance. It is Coco Noir. It is part of the Coco line, or actually, it's actually part of its own little unique world. It's not part of the Coco Mademoiselle or the Coco collection. It was actually launched as a flanker of Coco Dio de Parfum, but it smells to me more like Coco Mademoiselle. And I remember working for Chanel and everyone saying that it was actually a flanker of Coco Mademoiselle, but no one knows. Everyone says a different story. Long story short, this fragrance is a very sexy, deep fragrance. It has beautiful frankincense at its heart and a beautiful sandalwood, tonka bean, and vanilla, that wrap around the entirety of the fragrance. I really do like this one itself. It is a very classic, sexy, timeless type of fragrance. So if you're looking for a fragrance that's going to be wearable year-round and you're looking for one that's going to be impressive, it's going to have depth, it's going to be, very high quality, it's going to have longevity and performance, then I would say you definitely need to get Coco Noir because it's a staple in everyone's collection. I mean, even if you are a guy, I would say to take a whiff at it. You might not like it because it does have feminine qualities or traits to it. But I would definitely still say to smell it and try to layer it with other fragrances such as a Bleu de Chanel. It does work very well. The next one I have here is by the House of Alexander McQueen. Now, at the time of filming this video, I think that it's actually discontinued, and I'm sorry for that. When I last looked on their website, they still had it available. You could still buy it at Harrods, but it's no longer available on either site. They still list it, but it's saying out of stock or temporarily sold out. The one that I am talking about today is called Blazing Lily, and it's in that beautiful red lacquered bottle. I'm starting to see a trend here. Unfortunately, I'm not picking red fragrances by any means, but that would seem that that's what's going on, and that's not the case. I selected this one because it's going to be very sexy. It's going to be a lily fragrance. So it's another white floral. It is going to be, very seductive and sultry, and, it's going to have a sensuality to it that is very unique. I do love the lily in this fragrance, although the notes are listed very differently. It's listing chili, floral notes, and it's also listing gunpowder as a note in this fragrance. So you do get that gunpowder type of quality to it. It's a very different type of fragrance, but it can also kind of blend in with a lot of other white florals because obviously you're getting lily in here. There is a little bit of tuberose in here. There is some jasmine in here. It is a floral fragrance, so this might fall again within that feminine type of quality. So do keep that in mind, and you are able to find this on loads of different discounters such as FragranceNet for a really cheap price. Now, do remember that these used to retail for $270 US for a 2.5 ounce bottle, and now you can get them for anywhere from 60 to 70 US bucks. So very cheap, very easy to get. I would definitely say to try this fragrance as it is a very nice staple for Christmas. The next fragrance I have here is by the House of Cartier. Now, this is part of their very expensive premium upper echelons type of collection. This is Santal Oud. This fragrance was launched in 2016, and the perfumer for this fragrance is Mathilde Laurent. Definitely a really beautiful fragrance. I would certainly say that it's one of my favorites. I don't have a bottle of this fragrance myself, but I do want one because it is one of my absolute favorite fragrances. I think it's extremely sexy. They really grab the oud and they grabbed the sandalwood and really, made them into one note essentially. But it has that Cartier DNA, which is like that Le Panther vibe, as well as Musc de Cartier. If you don't know those fragrances, they are some classic Cartier fragrances. But it has that DNA that is so well known for those fragrances, and it adds it to sandalwood, and it makes oud the star of the show. It's really well done. It's a creamy sandalwood, a very sexy, soft and delicate oud. And it's definitely one of those, it's going to be more Western oud, just so you do know it's not going to be a Middle Eastern oud. But I do think that it's done incredibly well. I do think that it's a very nice fragrance. Now, do keep into consideration that this fragrance is a little pricey. For 2.5 fluid ounces. You're going to be paying $355 US, but Cartier does some of the best packaging out there. So if you do buy it from their website, note that they are going to treat you very well. And I do recommend this fragrance because it is a very beautiful scent. I do love it. And I do think that if you get this for someone that you love, they're going to love it just as much as Now the next fragrance I have here is by the house of Louis Vuitton. This is Symphony. Now I have heard lots of people talk about this fragrance, but it doesn't have the hype that it actually deserves. I think this is a beautiful Jacques Cavalier fragrance. It has soft elements to it. It has, citric elements to it. It has sweet elements to it. It has very little floral. It's more of a light, airy type of fragrance with very sweet notes to it as well. I do think that this fragrance is an iconic fragrance. Now, just note that it's a little bit on the pricey side. You're going to be paying 560 US dollars for a 3.4 or 100 ml sized bottle. So it's quite a bit of money, but I do think that it's a very nice fragrance. It does have a lot of longevity performance as well. So you're going to be getting anywhere from 6 to 7 hours. I got a sample of this, and it's probably one of the only Louis Vuitton fragrances that I've noticed that it lasted all day and it was, still carrying on. It only has 3 notes listed on here, which is going to be bergamot, ginger, and grapefruit. Louis Vuitton tends to do that, but Jacques Cavalier, I think, as a perfumer, which is a perfumer for this fragrance and for the house of Louis Vuitton, tends to make the best citric elements or the best citric fragrances out there on the market. He uses ginger in a very unique way as well, so I would definitely try to get a sample first so you can see if your loved one's going to like it, but I don't think that they're going to be disappointed by any means. It's a very different shaped bottle. It has a very beautiful cap on it as well, and it's very different to the rest of their perfume packaging. The next fragrance that I have here is by the house of Seline. This is what the bottle looks like. So we have Parade in the house. This is going to be a lighter fragrance overall compared to the rest that I have talked about thus far. So it might be a little bit more of a versatile fragrance. It's extremely long wearing. It has a beautiful oak moss base for this fragrance itself. There is no credited perfumer for any Seline fragrance, which is a little bit of a disappointment because I would love to know who has made these beautiful fragrances. But the notes for this are going to be neroli, bergamot, musk, vetiver, and oak moss. You can get a 100 ml sized bottle or 3.4 fluid ounces for $280, or a big guy, which is going to be 200 mls for 410 US dollars. So quite a bit of money, but it is a very nice collection. I think out of all of the other Seline fragrances, this is probably the one that I've seen has the longest longevity to it. I think that's because oak moss as a note no longer is used in perfumery very often, so they use a synthetic component, which makes this fragrance a long-lasting scent. Definitely very light wearing, very greenish type of vibe, but it's going to definitely be more of a neroli oak moss fragrance with vetiver touches and a lot of musk in here. I'm pretty sure there are some floral notes in this fragrance, although it doesn't credit any on the actual description. Very beautiful. It's a very happy, vibrant fragrance, but it's subtle. It's going to be a very happy fragrance that is not going to scream in your face, look at me, I'm happy, but it's just going to radiate that beautiful energy. The next one on the list that I have here is Rose Prick by Tom Ford. This was a little bit of a hard one to pick because, Tom Ford does have quite a few beautiful fragrances out there. I picked Rose Prick because obviously in the winter time, you're going to want something that's a little bit heavier. And rose is one of those scents that is typically done a lot in perfumery, but it needs to be done well in order for it to be a sophisticated type of note. Now, they did a really good job here. It is a dusty pink rose. It's going to have the very beautiful rose qualities to it, but it's going to have spice and, elements to it. It's going to have a powdery-like quality to it as well. In my opinion, this is the best rose that Tom Ford actually makes. It used to be Cafe Rose when Cafe Rose was part of the private blended line, but since they've moved it over to Signature, it's a little bit more watered down and synthetic. But I do love Rose Prick as an actual rose scent, and I think it's actually a very versatile fragrance. It can be worn by men and women and, loved equally. Although if you are a guy and you do not want a pink bottle, that might be a problem. But if you don't care about the color of the bottle, then I definitely think that this is a perfect fragrance for you. The next one that I have here is by the house of Dior, and it's part of their La Collection Prive. This is a top-selling fragrance for Dior when it comes to their Prive collection, and it's obviously because it's the best amber on the market. I know someone's going to get mad out there and say, no, it's not. I really love this fragrance. It's done incredibly well. It is a warm, soft amber fragrance, but it's, subtle. It's not in your face. It's not, too resiny. It's not going to be, too sweet. It's going to have sweet qualities, soft qualities. It's going to be a very well-blended fragrance. The perfumer for this is Francois Demachy. And this fragrance has been around since 2009, and it's still the best-selling fragrance for Dior when it comes to their Privé collection, which should say quite a bit. It's easygoing. It's very versatile. It can be worn by men and women. Now, the older formulations used to last quite a bit on the skin. This one's not. I'm just saying that straight up. It's not going to be the longest lasting actual perfume anymore, but that's okay. I think for what you're getting, I think that it's a very easygoing fragrance that is going to have to be reapplied, but you're still going to enjoy the fragrance overall. And the fragrance that I've selected for this list is Rolling in Love. So this is going to be part of their Red Bottle series. It's going to be a soft, creamy fragrance. It's an extremely well done fragrance to my liking. I think that it has very beautiful elements such as florals, but it's going to have amber in it as well, or ambrette seed. And because it does have almond milk in it, it has that almond-like quality, but it's milky. It's a really well done fragrance all around. I think that it's a very beautiful, sophisticated fragrance that can be worn year round. It can be appreciated by men and women. It doesn't fall too far into the feminine line, and it doesn't fall too far into the masculine line as well. I definitely think that it's a very beautiful scent. It does contain almond milk, ambrette seed, freesia oris concentrate, musk, tuberose absolute, tonka bean, and vanilla. And you can get a 50 ml bottle or 1.7 fluid ounces for $2.90, or all the way up to 250 mils for $1,020. Not sure what the $20 are for, but they are charging you $20 extra. The 11th fragrance that I do have on here is by the House of Bond No. 9, and I have selected Tribeca. This fragrance from Bond No. 9 is probably one of my favorite ones from the entire collection of Bond No. 9, or the entire brand. It is grabbing all of the traditional Bond No. 9 sandalwood-like qualities. It's going to add green hazelnut, cocoa absolute, jasmine, cedarwood, caramel, moss, and ambroxan. This fragrance is truly one of the best fragrances from this entire range. I do really like Bond No. 9 as a brand. I think I love their style. It is one of those that's going to have kind of like what the gold bottle has in it, but it's going to add that cocoa in it, and it's going to make it a little bit more refined. I really do think that Bond No. 9 has some of the best refined fragrances. They're a little bit expensive, but if you're getting someone a very nice gift, I think that they will be very happy with Tribeca. It's an easy purchase from the House of Bond No. 9. The next one that we have is by the House of Burberry, and this is part of their signatures range. I have selected Tudor Rose. I was going between Tudor Rose and Amber Heath because they are both equally as good. They're both fragrances by Francis Kurkdjian, and I definitely wanted to select one of his creations for the House of Burberry. I do like Tudor Rose a little bit more because it is a rosy, soft, delicate. It's an English rose at heart. I really do like it. I think that if you're looking for a rose fragrance that's going to have depth and quality, kind of like Rose Prick does, this one's going to have it, but in a very different, more subtle type of way. Where Tom Ford's a little bit, deep and dark, this one's going to be deep and dark, but, soft. It's going to have some sensitivity to it as well. The next one that I have on this list is by the House of Versace, and this is Atelier Versace. This is going to be their private line of fragrances. And the one that we have selected is Santal Oud, which is, sandalwood woods, and I definitely think that this is probably one of the best ones from this entire Atelier collection. I have yet to review any of these on my channel. I really do want to get into them because they are a really nice fragrance. I just don't like their bottles. I think that if they actually selected a different, more classic type of bottle, I would be very happy with it. But it's Versace. I'm sorry to say, Versace kind of has the, fame of being a little bit on the tacky side, and they definitely did go tacky with the bottles. But other than that, the smell and the juice inside is very well done. It's a creamy sandalwood with a beautiful saffron and nutmeg quality to it, because those are two notes inside of this fragrance. It's a very soft and delicate, but woodsy, very exotic and, kind of happy and vibrant, but, very daring and freeing type of fragrance. And I definitely think that if you're going to get someone a fragrance from the House of Versace, I would definitely skip Eros or Eros Flame or, Dylan Blue and skip straight to Santal Oud by Versace. You're going to get them a nicer fragrance that's going to be a little bit more, of a higher quality. It's going to be of the upper echelons as well. In the number 14 spot, I have selected one by the House of Bvlgari. This is the La Gems collection, and this is GARANAT, which is garnet as the stone. It has a beautiful ruby red top on it. Very nice fragrance. Now, this is another rose. I kind of feel like I just selected a bunch of rose fragrances. Maybe I should name this the Rose List of the Year, but not all of them are roses. But this one's also going to be a rose fragrance. It's going to have a Damascus rose, frankincense, grass rose absolute, and the price for this is $310 US. Now, This one is not available on the actual US site for Bvlgari, but you can get it at Harrods. You can also get it at discounters as well. Now, do note that the rest of the La Gems collection does retail for $400, so this one's a lot cheaper. I think it's because it's not the top selling, because it is a smoky, churchy type of rose, and it's a very well done one. It's a deeper, mysterious type of fragrance, so if you're looking for something that's sexy, mysterious, and different, but it has that beautiful La Gems, quality to it, which is that kind of metallic citric note in the background, I would definitely say to check out GARANAT, because it's going to be a little bit different to the rest of them. It's not going to be as deep as some of the La Gems collection, but it's not going to be as light as some of the other ones like Tigar and Ambre and some of the other ones. So definitely check out this one if you're looking for a beautiful, more winter appropriate version of the La Gems collection. And the last one that I have here is by the House of Jo Malone. And I have selected Peony and Blush Suede. This is a fantastic fragrance. I honestly wanted to pick this one because I know that it falls more on the feminine spectrum. I'm aware of that. But I do like it because you can layer this with other fragrances. It is a cologne, so it's not going to be the longest wearing, but it's actually one of the best performing colognes by the House of Jo Malone in my experience. They make solids in this one too, so if you're into solid perfumes, they do make those actually for this fragrance. They make an entire body line, so it's a very nice, supple fragrance, soft and delicate, that you can wear during the day, you can wear it to bed, you can wear it, on your downtime to be more chillax, more of a free spirited type of fragrance. It's very light, it's very airy, it's very versatile, and it's a little bit more on the casual side of things. So I know a lot of the fragrances in this list are going to be a little bit more dressed up. This one's going to be on the casual side of that. So what do you guys think of this list? Do you agree with it? Do you not agree with it? Let me know down in the comments. Also, make sure to give the video a thumbs up and comment down below what your top fragrances are for this year. Are you going to select any of these? Are you going to try any of these? Let me know all of that down below. Also, make sure to subscribe for more fragrance related content, and I hope to see you on the next video. Bye.